When U.S. Attorney John Durham was announced by Attorney General Barr to investigate the origins of the Russia investigation, which began with the FBI, Crossfire Hurricane, Peter Strzok, and then led to the appointment of a special counsel, Bob Mueller. There were FISA applications. There was the dossier, all of this information. So he was appointed by Attorney General Barr to investigate the origins. How did this really all get started? Now, initially, it was an investigation and inquiry. When you have that kind of power, you're kind of limited. You are limited in the sense that people can provide testimony. You can ask people to talk to you, but they aren't compelled to talk to you. But breaking news last night that we know is sending shockwaves through Washington, D.C. It's why a lot of the mainstream media doesn't even want to cover it, because it is scaring a lot of people. We're not going to name names. We're not going to speculate. I think all of you out there could come up with your own list of people who should be probably pretty nervous right now. But let's make it clear. What started out is an investigation into the origins and the potential wrongdoing in the origins of the Russia investigation. How did this all get started? Why was there a Crossfire Hurricane? Why was the dossier relied on? Why did then a special counsel need to be appointed who found that there was no collusion? Why take the country through this whole process? That investigation has now become officially a criminal investigation. Initially, when Durham had this role, it was a big deal. But he could only get voluntary interviews, he could do his own research, and he could only get voluntary documents. So he could ask for documents, but you'd have to provide him to them voluntarily. He could ask you to do an interview, but you'd have to do it voluntarily. He couldn't force anything. That has all changed now.
They are not adversary proceedings. You don't have the right to cross-examination or anything like that. The prosecutor has the right to call witnesses and to subpoena those witnesses and to subpoena documents, and you have to produce those documents to the grand jury. So it has pivoted enormously, Jordan, made a tremendous change in the tenor and scope of what it is that the U.S. Attorney is now looking at. These are people who have been embedded in the government agencies in which they control. Administration after administration after administration, they've stayed in there, they've exercised and wielded this power. But if you, and I think Durham knows how to use the grand jury, and he's going to use those subpoenas and he's going to get to the information that he needs. I can't emphasize enough how important this pivot from civil/administrative to criminal is. It's a tremendous change in the complexion and the perplexity in which this thing is going to be looked at. It's going to be looked at with very, very piercing eyeballs